All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Teacup for One Oscar Movie Marathon live show discussion. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and welcome. So if you are new here, and this is the first show that you're joining us for, welcome. My name is Matt. This is my channel, and the Teacup for One Movie Marathons is something that is I'm trying to become turn into a regular thing. So we started doing movie marathons last year, and it's a really fun concept. We just have sort of a structure or a theme to collect a bunch of movies together, and then every week we watch the movie, we come together and talk about it. Then at the end, there's a fun game. It's a delight. So this year, the very first movie marathon, which you are watching a part of tonight, is the Oscar movie marathon. So we're going to be watching our way through a bunch of the Oscar nominated films. Most of them are Best Picture nominees. Some of them aren't. Last week we started with being the Ricardos, because even though it didn't get a Best Picture nomination, it's the most nominated for acting, kind of, aside from Power of the Dog. But we'll talk about that next week and whether or not that was merited. Hey, we got a friend here. Hey, Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Aubrey, have you seen Don't Look Up? Let me know. Oh, perfect segue. Today, we are talking about the Netflix original film, Don't Look Up. Now, this is probably one of the most polarizing films of 2021. I know there were a bunch of people who loved it, a bunch of people who hated it, a bunch of people who didn't know what to make of it. So that is what we are going to be discussing here today. So if memory serves, it received 4 Oscar nominations. So it's nominated for Best Picture, in addition to Best Original Score, Best Editing, and Best Original Screenplay, which is interesting because last week we had a movie that was all acting nominations. This week it's a movie with no acting nominations, but also a movie that has like all the Oscar winners ever in it. It's very interesting. Lots to discuss. But of course, it would not be a classic Teacup for One movie marathon discussion if we didn't have people to discuss the movie with. So I'm going to bring in our panel of esteemed panelists one at a time. They don't know who's joining in the conversation first. Let's see. It'll be random. Who looks the most scared in the waiting room? Look, everyone, it's Lisa Alves. She's back. Woo.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Lisa. Welcome back. Thanks for coming to talk to us about the movie.
I'm so excited. What a star-studded cast. What a long movie. Looking forward to it.
A long movie indeed. So anyway, for those who might not know, Lisa, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us what you do. Tell us where we can find you on the interwebs.
Yeah, my name is Lisa Alves, and I am in the theater industry here in Toronto, Canada. I'm a producer and an artist, and I work for a company called Cahoots Theater, which is rad, and everyone should check it out. And you can find me on Instagram at Lisa_A_Alves.
Ooh, fantastic. Everyone, go follow Lisa. Go follow Cahoot Theater. Both fantastic. All right. Oh, and Aubrey apparently watched it with her grandma and dad, and you have an environmental science degree. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this movie. We discussed the climate change parallel at length. It was not. See, this movie, provoking discussion. That is what this movie does well, even if some other stuff it doesn't do that well. Well, not to give away my thoughts. All right, next up, we are joined by Tinker J. Jeanette. Hello, hey. Jeanette. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Pleasure. Thanks for joining us again. So yeah, same thing. Tell us a little bit about you. Who is Jeanette?
Tinker J787 on Instagram. Jeanette here. Real person. I have an Instagram where me and my family have an annual pass to Disney World. We live in Maryland though. We just got back, so there's a trip report over there that I just put up not too long ago. And then my other favorite thing is being here discussing movies with you fine people.
Oh, and we love discussing movies with you, fine person. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. Oh, who else is joining us today? It's Martha, everyone.
Well, hey, Martha.
Hello, Martha. I don't think she watched the movie, but maybe we can convince her to, or maybe we can make her feel better about not watching it. We'll see how it goes. Okay. And last but not least, fan favorite, Lauren's back, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Lauren. Welcome. Oh, always a pleasure. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this movie as well as everyone else. But yes, Lauren, same thing. Tell us a little bit about you. Who is Lauren? What does Lauren do?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Castles, Capes, and Clones, which I run with my cousin Rich, who is known as Cousin Rich on our channel. We do like a lot of unboxings and hauls. I love to show off my pins. We do a lot of box swaps and talk about Disney news and do reviews and more. So anyway, coming up on the channel, what day is it today? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Tomorrow, I'm participating in my very first Year of the Ear, which is hosted by the Siskateer. And then on Friday, we are talking about Fun and Fancy Free,
Nice.
the movie.
Wonderful.
What is it? Fun and Fancy Free? No, Melody Time and
they're kind of the same in my brain.
I know. Yeah. I was gonna say
they're like all running together, but it's Make My Music and Melody Time. So anyway, that's it. Find us on YouTube at Castles, Capes, and Clones.
Fun. And for those who might not know, tell us quickly, what is Year of the Ear? Because it's like this epic thing in the Disney YouTube community, but I'm not sure if anyone outside of our bubble knows about it.
Yes, Year of the Ear is a collaboration hosted by the Siskateers, and they basically every month there's a theme, and people have to create ears, or they can buy them, but not from the parks. They can only be like small shop creations, which is what I do because I have no skills. But
I'm right there with you, Lauren.
I know. So I'm going through a dear friend of mine who is a great ear maker. And yeah, this month is Festival of the Arts. So,
I love Festival of the Arts. It's Disney and arts, my favorites combined.
The best.
Amazing.
The best
it's my favorite festival that I've never been to.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Fun. All right. Well, I'm excited to talk about this movie with everyone because, like I said, it's fascinating to me, not only as a movie, but just insofar as how everyone perceived it and the reception that it got, because I was aware of it by reputation, I'd say more than by merit of it as a film. Like, I heard about it on Facebook, and what got my interest actually was someone just made an arbitrary post about Meryl Streep playing Donald Trump, and I was like, what movie did I miss the memo on? Then I looked it up and thought, okay, I guess I have to watch this. And then I did. So before we dig into our thoughts, I want to hear about everyone's first impressions of this film, like how you discovered it, what your thoughts were the first time watching it. And yeah, for me, my in was Meryl Streep apparently playing Donald Trump. And I thought it was going to be literal. I thought there would be like hair and makeup, and it sadly wasn't. But I kind of like the direction that it went in anyway, where it was a very clear parallel, but she was still her own character. And she was just like a female mirror to that figure. And I thought it was a decent movie. Like, I love satire. I love the idea of the movie. My big complaint with it, if a complaint is the right word, is that I think it could have been an hour shorter and just as effective, if not maybe slightly more so. But then also the movie's very uncomfortable, which I think the length contributes to that. And I do like the discomfort. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Those are my thoughts in a nutshell. Let's go, Lisa.
Well, the reason why I watched it was I saw on Facebook this article that said Jennifer Lawrence hates Jonah Hill, and I was like, "What? Like what?" And obviously, it was like a clickbait thing where she was just in an interview saying how disruptive Jonah Hill was because he improv'd a lot of his lines. Mm-hmm. And when you get improv in movies, for me, I'm so interested. So I was interested, and I watched it, and it was funny. I liked the humor. I love the satire, and I watched it with my mom. And we just kept relating it back to the whole pandemic and how, the Trump administration handled it. And it was it was a clown show. So that's, I liked it, but also it was so long. Yeah. It was so, I'm not happy with long movies. And one of my favorite movies is Titanic. So yeah, I just wish it was an hour and a half. I felt like it could have been an hour and a half and not as long as it was. But yeah, I really enjoyed, Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence's performances. But other than that, yeah, like I don't have any super strong feelings, but I enjoyed the story enough, like, to continue watching it throughout. So yeah.
Well said. Well said. Jeanette, how about you?
I found out about it originally whenever Netflix dropped like their kind of like trailer montage for the year, and I was like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence are in a movie together, and I like Jennifer Lawrence, and I was excited to see her in something again. So I was like, gonna watch that, and then when it came out, I was like, oh, that's what that was, because the ad looked very sci-fi. Like, I guess it is kind of sci-fi, but kind of not. Like, this hasn't happened, but climate change very much has. So yeah, I guess it's science fiction for some people. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's what that's about. I thought it was going to be like aliens or something by the look of the trailer. So we watched it, and I adore it. It was the word for me is touching. Like, I felt every emotion you can feel. I felt anger. I felt sad, like sobbing sad. I felt hysterically funny. I was happy for people. I was sad for people. So like in deep ways, not just like watching a movie, regular ways. So I felt very touched by it. And my husband and I both felt like it was long, but it's only 2 hours and 18 minutes. That's like, in relation to like a lot of movies, that's not that long. But I guess maybe we'll touch on this again later. It is slightly repetitive, but I think that's for a reason. And like you alluded to, I think the discomfort of it all is supposed to be there. I also think that you need to feel like you've known people a long time. Are we doing spoilers?
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to
Spoiler
blow them
warning.
all away. Yeah. If you're going to blow them all away, we need to care. So, you know.
True. Well said. Well said. Lauren.
Yeah, I found out about it when Matt said we're going to be watching this film.
Yes.
I was like, okay, we're going to watch this film. And I said, I better watch this film that we're going to be watching. I have no idea what it's about. I started the film, and I started thinking, am I watching the right film? And I had to go check. And then I'm like, okay, it's got Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio in it. I'm on the right track. I'm going to watch the whole thing. I have to admit, I really enjoyed the film. I liked it. Mostly because it got me thinking about what I would do. Like if somebody said there's a comet that's going to destroy the Earth, how would I react to it? And then you have a political party that is like trying to, use this in some way and direct the messaging. And, let's say that it was a Trump administration, I would have been, easily the scientists were like, Avi, I'm going to believe them. But I was like, what if it were the Biden administration? How would I feel about that? Or the Obama administration? How would I feel about that? I have no idea, actually. I mean, I would probably still go with the scientists, but I would have pause. So it was interesting. Could be a little bit heavy-handed, but at the same time, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought I think part of that was because I just had I wasn't expecting anything.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Oh, and Bob agrees with you. Bobby Hunt is here.
Hey, Bobby.
We love Bob. Share your thoughts, Bob. Let us know. So, yeah, there's I feel like so much happens in this movie, yet also, I said this about another movie. So much happens, yet also kind of so little happens. Oh, and Canto. Whatever. But yeah, there's so much to discuss. Before we get to the story and the politics of it all, because I think that's going to be a longer discussion, I want to quickly touch on the cast. I just want to do a quick go around and find out who everyone's favorite performance was, or who everyone's favorite character, if there is a difference there. For me, I think I'd probably have to say Jennifer Lawrence's character, which is kind of the obvious answer, but I don't love her in everything, but I always like her in movies. Like Leonardo DiCaprio is someone I generally don't like in films, but I also enjoyed him in this. Yeah, I really enjoyed him in this, actually. I think because he was playing against type in a way that I felt really worked for him as an actor. But Jennifer Lawrence, like just seeing her play a role that I felt was so suited to her, but also so different from what I've seen from her in the past. It was very refreshing. And there was just something like so engaging about how invested she was and how she was pretty well the only voice of reason through the entire film. That, like, my favorite part is just when she's screaming on national television about how the entire world's going to get blown up. Oh, just so good. So yeah, my choice would be Jennifer Lawrence. I also just love Meryl Streep by merit of the fact that it's Meryl Streep playing who she's playing. And I just imagine like that casting decision was totally out of spite on everyone's part, and I support that. So yeah. Lisa, how about you?
I like hands down Meryl Streep was my favorites. But also like Meryl Streep and Jonah Hill, like their team of like complete idiots was phenomenal. Like that is true skill right there. Like they nailed it on the head. But yeah, I mean, like I think like Leonardo DiCaprio was good, but like I feel like he's just naturally like always good in the things he gets his hands on. So like I wasn't super surprised that I was like, oh, okay, like you're doing what you're doing. But the biggest surprise was Timothée Chalamet. I did not expect him to be in the movie, and I appreciated his comic relief because I know so many guys like that, and I know so many guys who would act like that in apocalypse situations. So yeah, I just love everyone's contribution to the satire, but Meryl Streep and Jonah Hill were my favorites.
Yeah, smoke show of a mom.
Talk about uncomfortability.
So uncomfortable.
Oh, so uncomfortable, but so hilarious. Actually, I should have said Jonah Hill as well, just for that pairing.
So good. I was not expecting it.
All right, Jeanette, how about you?
In this movie, if we're talking about acting, like pure acting, the character that I love to hate because she did her so damn well was Cate Blanchett's character, who's really, I mean, like we know like who she's supposed to be on TV, right? So like, and like she did it so well, and I was like,
who was Cate Blanchett in the movie?
She was the news anchor.
That was her?
Yeah. Cate freaking Blanchett. Yeah. Hence why I love Cate Blanchett.
I did not recognize that.
Yeah, I don't have to sell Cate Blanchett as an actress to anybody, but I mean, like, I love Cate Blanchett, and she didn't fail me in this movie. However, like, just as a love affair ongoing, I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think even in bad movies, she does well. Even if the movie itself is like, when the movies are bad that she's in, she's still great. Like, I never liked Hunger Games, but boy, oh boy, can she act in those movies. Like, you know, I did think Leo was just kind of being Leo in this movie. But again, to Lisa's point, like once you've seen him in Django, you're kind of like, where's there to go from here? Like, I mean, that's kind of like how I feel about him post that. I'm like, you're still doing great, guy. Keep going. Like, it's good. Jonah Hill, I mean, I don't know. He feels like he's a staple in my life. So like he was being Jonah and he was doing great. I mentioned off air before the show, I listened to an interview with Adam McKay, and he talked a little bit about Jonah Hill improvising all that stuff and how like Meryl was just rolling, you know, like you think Meryl Streep, like fantastic actress, right? But I don't know that I would have thought she would have reacted well to something like that, but I guess she did great with it. So that's pretty cool.
You just made me decide that all of them are my favorites.
I know.
Well, it is such a well-cast movie.
Exactly. It's as far as movies being ensemble cast and not TV shows, and for that to really come off without there feeling like, I mean, I know Leo and Jennifer Lawrence are the leads, but like for it to not come off like, oh yeah, well obviously they're the stars, because we're mentioning everybody because they're all the stars, right? So I thought it was really good.
Yeah, and they were all paired together so well. Now that like we've mentioned Jonah Hill and Meryl Streep, fantastic. Cate Blanchett and who played her co-anchor?
Tyler Perry.
It was Tyler. Okay, yeah. And Tyler Perry, I loved them, especially when it was like, can this comet hit my ex-wife's house? And she's like, oh, you're so bad. It's like, well, I paid for it. And like little things like that. The banter with all the pairs that they put together was so brilliant. Like this movie had such great chemistry across the board, I felt. Yeah, Lauren, how about you?
I actually like Leo. I like Leo because I related to him. I I often have that anxiety and depression that I could feel it. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm like feeling this anxiety with him. And I thought he did that so well. And just kind of like being the bumbling person that can't often express himself or get the right words out. I'm totally that person. So I just totally related to him. And I think that's why I like him. I liked his performance because I thought he got it down pat.
Yeah, and I also loved the kind of equivalent scene when he's on TV and then also pulls a Jennifer Lawrence and yells at everyone about how the world's going to end. Just so much raw passion. So captivating to watch. Yep. All right, let's check out. Got some fun comments here. Oh, my mom's cat didn't like the movie. She's going to go to Wonderland. Really want Eliza to have her own social media channel. It'd be hilarious. So Bob Hunt says, it's a Netflix thing. Part of their philosophy is to hand a director a bundle of cash. This is a blank check passion project for Adam McKay. Maybe there should have been someone to offer notes or feedback. And I do kind of think there is something there. Absolutely. Because you can tell that it's a passion project, but I kind of going back to what I said about how I think the movie is an hour too long. It just feels like a lot of the same thing. And even though I didn't know much about it going in, within the first maybe 20 minutes, once I put the pieces together that there was a comet and that Meryl Streep was playing the type of president that she was, I was like, no, like everyone's going to die. This is going to be a 2-hour study in indifference and consequences. And that's kind of what it was. And
yeah, I think that's the point of the repetitiveness, though, is we're supposed to feel just like we do in real life, where we all keep telling people, this is happening, this is real, this is going to happen, it's coming, now it's here, now you're still not doing, we're living that, but you have to live it in a 2 and almost a half-hour movie. And so, like, I feel like if you do that, it gives you that feeling that you have every day when you wake up and realize that the world has still not changed. That tightness in your chest, like, do we have to tell you again?
Yeah, it was so anxiety inducing. I felt because it was so much of the same thing. But like, do we feel like it's successful satire? Because I've read a lot of articles saying that it fails as a satire for reasons that were too intellectual for me to comprehend. Others saying that it's brilliant satire. Just for like, what does everyone sort of define satire as being? And does this meet the expectation? Because for me, I feel like satire should be something that's making a very obvious comment through metaphor that is a little bit hit you over the head, but should also kind of change the way that you think about things. And I do think that this movie kind of accomplished that, because it was giving us a very evident, tangible threat, as opposed to the threats that it was paralleling in real life, which are still very serious, but not to the point of there's a deadline to when the world is going to end, but just kind of giving us that, like that ticking time bomb element really heightened the absurdity. And I do love that as a device, but I still think it could have been shorter. I think that's what my main takeaway is from this movie. I respect what it was doing, but I think it could have been shorter. Anyway, let's go opposite direction. Lauren, what is satire to you? And does this movie do it?
I mean, I think I have a similar view to satire, that, it has to make a comment in a pithy and almost, funny way. And I thought it achieved that. I thought, like I said, it really made me think about things, and that it did make that commentary about, who are we as a society, that we have to be, I mean, you almost have to see something in order to believe it. Like, you can't, we don't believe things until you know, it actually happens. It's like they keep saying the big one is coming in, you know, the big earthquake is coming in California. That's like gonna, you know, parts of California will fall into the sea. And that's exactly me. I just don't believe it until I can see it. You know what I mean? And I might be under the sea someday. Who knows?
I hear under the sea. We all know where my mind goes.
Yeah.
Right? I always started singing a song, but I don't know if I make any sense.
Oh, no, totally. Absolutely. Jeanette, how about you?
So I think, first off, yeah, I think this totally achieved satire. But the reason that I think it achieved it is I think my age, my generation, we grew up, probably the biggest example of satire was South Park, right? And like Trey Parker's whole motto is to do that sort of thing, you have to take it all the way. You can't stop just shy of that, or else it's not funny. It is disgusting. It is, nobody wants to hear it. It is whatever, boring, whatever the case is. You have to take it all the way. And so, like, I feel like the absurdity and the ridiculousness of this is what, and the repetitiveness, again, is what made it satire. That's why it is, because it is taking it to that nth degree and taking it all the way. And it does, I think, have many layers. Like Lauren was just saying, one of them is you have to see it to believe it. The other one is the very obvious, just direct correlation of either global climate change or COVID, you know, whatever, however you want to tie that in. If you're a woman, this also has another layer in this movie. The Jennifer Lawrence character, the Cate Blanchett character, Jennifer Lawrence's relationship to both Timothée Chalamet and Leonardo DiCaprio's characters. Like, there's a lot of things. Honestly, as a man, there's a lot of things in this movie as far as Leonardo DiCaprio's character. I feel like there's a lot of layers there. So if you can take all of that out of it, I feel like not only is it satire, but it's very good satire.
Well said. Lisa, how about you?
Yeah, I don't think like satire needs to be complicated. I think the best satire is when it's simple, and usually like when it is done where it's like hitting the audience over the head with it, like how obvious it is. I think it's great, especially with the humor and the skill level that the team brought. I think they did such a great job of just exaggerating this type of situation that we have seen like time and time again, not only in the Trump administration, but through many administrations and many different types of governments across the globe. So I think the way that they simply did it was great. And I've read those reviews where like reviewers are talking about how satire needs to be like this intelligent thing, but on the baseline, it comes down to comedy, and comedy can be very simple for the masses. And I think the story did a really good job at like just laying it all out there and letting the actors play with it. So yeah.
I think first and foremost, the movie is a comedy, right? Like it's a dark comedy, but the majority of the movie is funny. There are serious moments, there are heartfelt moments, there are sad moments, but it needs to be funny. Like I think some of those, like you said, Lisa, some of those articles that were hateful of it were like, oh, so we're going to talk about this serious thing, but we're going to like joke about it. And now I don't take it serious. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, if it's not funny, nobody's going to watch it. It's also Adam McKay. If it's not funny, the man's career's over. I don't expect him to put out something that's like crafted to be intellectual to the nth degree. I want it to be funny.
Yeah.
Well said. I'm going to quickly jump into the comments here. Whoop. Aubrey, I agree. There should have been more feedback versus beating people over the head with the message. Bob says, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the movie. I've been worried about Thermageddon for decades. Apocalyptic movies aren't my jam. I do appreciate yes, I do love that they gave us the most horrendous ending. As a scientist, you feel like Oh, I'd love to hear more about that perspective, Aubrey.
I know, yeah.
Just your thoughts as a scientist and about what you would have done.
Yeah, because
like your thoughts. Yeah.
Like as a citizen, like as a person who is not a scientist, I think they like captured it really well. But I don't have that science background. I don't understand like the implications that people who are actually in the positions of Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence actually face when it comes to these things. Like I have no idea.
Yeah, I felt this overwhelming sense of dread in the moments when they were like, why don't we just tell people ourselves? And then I just thought, how do you get people to listen to you in that situation? I think
that was one of the most like to me, the moments when they would be on TV or be talking to the government and they would not even be able to get to them to talk was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I get it. That's kind of understood. But then when they get in there and say it, and then the feel again, I think it evokes that feeling in people when you're watching it. Like, did you not just hear what they said? And honestly, the fact that we get things like that in our news feed all the time, and we all talk about it, and then the next day we're not talking about it anymore. Yeah, I mean, like we get that news every day. We are told that. There's just not somebody screaming it on TV because they'd be taken down by security. I did think that was, honestly, if we want to talk about something I didn't like, the unrealism of these people going bananas on TV and the fact that no security guard rushed over the minute they raised their voice. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I got a personal connection to the TV industry, and I'll say that would never happen. So, like, that was the only thing that my husband and I looked at each other and were like, no, that's first unrealistic thing right there.
I will
so sadly
say,
true.
There's like this weird moment, and I think like just to touch on like what was just said about like who's going to listen to us, like if they were to tell them themselves, like the world themselves, when Jennifer Lawrence was like telling her boyfriend that like the world was going to end, and like he kind of freaked out in the middle of the street, but then like a woman passed by and was like, "What did you say?" And like she believed this like thing that she just overheard, and then she brushed it off saying, "Oh, it's a video game." I was like, wait, but like there is an actual thing. Like this woman who's a stranger doesn't know that this person is a scientist, like would buy into that. So like even though there's this doubt of like who's going to listen to us, I feel like there's that hope that they captured in that one particular quick second of like, yeah, people will listen to you. Will there be enough? Will the right people listen to you? Like those in power listen to you?
It's the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Like, because you have to go through bureaucracy to say anything to the masses. And then again, they did show on social media. If you do it on social media, then you'll just become, they did the whole meme thing. I thought that was pretty funny. Again, totally realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had her face on his board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen the number of, if you have any family on Facebook that is on the other side of this issue, we've seen Fauci memes, and that's no fun. Sorry, my family's all in the South. So.
Oh, sadly, I don't get to see the Fauci memes really from my extended circle. I feel like I'm missing out.
Slightly more logical people, maybe.
Okay. Well, later we'll talk about the Freedom Convoy when there's a satire about that.
I was going to say, or maybe not.
Yeah, fun times. Oh, politics. But going back to something that was said a little bit earlier about how this is at its heart a comedy, I kind of wanted to ask, what was everyone's funniest moment, or what was the thing that made you laugh the most, whether it was satirical or just plain hilarious? I found myself on my second rewatch laughing a lot more at Mark Rylance's character, like the pseudo Steve Jobs, specifically when he's telling Leo, like, I know everything about you and everything that you've done since 1996. Also because I watched, what's that terrifying documentary about social media from like last year?
The Social Dilemma. Is that it?
Yes, I finally watched that for the first time about a week ago. And then this just tied all that together, but to the extreme where he said, yeah, I know everything. And also I know when you're going to die. Also, you have five cysts and you should get those checked out. They're not serious, but see a doctor. I'm like, this is terrifying and hilarious and exactly what we're at.
Do you not feel like he was Jobs also and Elon Musk?
Oh my gosh, he was Elon Musk. Totally.
I felt like with that very just like eccentric way of talking. Yeah, it was very Elon Musk.
So focused, like so unhinged.
Who was it that played that the guy?
That was Mark Rylance.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he was also in
some sort of creepy guy.
He was in
He's really good at that.
The Spielberg movie about video games.
Oh yeah, what was that movie?
Ready Player? Is that?
Yes, Ready Player One. Basically playing the exact same character, essentially.
Really? Oh
yeah,
wow.
Eccentric science genius. Yeah. Oh, I also loved at the beginning when there was a little kid who was like on stage with him, and then he just shuts her down. She's like, "Can I show you this?" He's like, "No."
Yeah.
Then at the end, afterwards, she's like, "I love you." He's like, "Nope, go away."
Yep.
Yeah.
What was everyone else's funniest moments?
Whenever it was this is the one that just pops in. I don't know. It's kind of like a whole set of scenes when Cate Blanchett and Leonardo DiCaprio are in bed and she's like describing all of the things she's done and she slept with 2 presidents and whatever. And I forget exactly what his retort is, but it's something really trivial, like really trivial. And it's one thing. And I don't know why, but that moment kind of like, because I love to hate her character so much. And that was the moment that I started to not like his character. I was like, we were all rooting for you. And then you became a butthead. And like, I think that moment drove it home for me. I was like, and what did you do it all for? She's a meanie.
She has 3 master's degrees.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I thought was funniest was actually Jennifer Lawrence's obsessing over why the general charged for the snacks when they were free. And I don't know why. I just kept laughing every time she brought it up.
Yes,
I would do that in real life.
That was a great callback through the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my favorite part, the one that made me laugh so much was that end credit scene. They pulled a Marvel move and they made it worthwhile.
Oh yeah.
Like Meryl Streep body double who has a back tattoo.
I was so upset to find out that was a body double. I looked it up. I was like, please tell me Meryl did it.
They would have to pay her so much more.
I know, right? That's what my husband said. He's like, "There's no way,
no way."
She did.
But like, it was so funny. It was exactly like what was like. Who was it? Like the it was like Steve Jobs' character like predicted how she was gonna die.
Yes. Best callback of the whole movie. There's so many callbacks, but that one, I was like.
Good. Loved it.
Yeah.
The Bronze Rock.
Whatever
Don't
that
pet
is.
them. Don't pet them.
Don't go near them.
Then it cuts right before they all get eaten.
That also kind of drove home the point that guy really wasn't wrong about much of anything except the one thing that he needed to not be wrong about. He literally was right about like everything else except the one thing he needed to get right.
Yeah. The 99.735%.
But also I think it was like the fact that he was so driven to like get that like the business aspect of like defeating this comet to like get the minerals. I was like, okay, if you focused on like saving humanity, maybe it would have worked out instead of like just extracting what you needed for your cell phone company.
Well, and that was a layer that I thought alluded to like fracking and gas and oil and all of that. Cause like you take it, didn't take it, and then it's going to, it's
going to implode on you. It's going to destroy us. Yeah.
I could be reading in so many things that weren't even meant to be there, but much like my music, I want it to just read however my emotions read it at the time.
Oh yeah. No, I think there's so much littered throughout this movie that can be interpreted or read into, especially Like thinking about how they're just trying to profit off of the minerals that are on the planet killing comet. Like it goes back to what I read the original ending was before it was Meryl being eaten by a Brontorok, and how it was just all the people who survived because they were billionaires trying to hire somebody to build them houses on the new planet, but they didn't bring anyone to work with them, like no workers. So everyone were like, they were all fellow billionaires. So no one wanted anyone else's money. And they were just useless. I'm like, yeah, like that's another thing that's totally layered into this movie, like the uselessness of gross and disgusting wealth. Like there's so much. And Aubrey has a really cool comment here that I think harkens to something Jeanette mentioned earlier about how she related to Jennifer Lawrence's character being a grad student not long ago, and the experiences of being a young female grad student was very well reflected, which is something that I can't relate to, and I didn't even really notice because that's not my life experience. But now that it's been pointed out, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I can see how that was a thing because she is the smartest person and no one is listening to her. And yeah. Like, did anyone else pick up on that? I'm guessing the ladies probably did.
Yeah.
I felt like her anger was completely justified, and it was to the point of like, oh my god, this is funny, but also like this is too real. Like one of the reasons, besides not like being very strong in math and science, that I didn't go into like sciences in university was like knowing that that was the type of like culture in that industry, in those industries. But like she played it so well. Like she went to that extreme. She yelled on television. She got angry at her partner. Like, yeah, and it let it affect her in like these like simple moments, like with the general, or like just blowing up at Jonah Hill. Like it's completely warranted, but also very sad and real because it happens daily in these fields.
I also like that it wasn't direct, like none of the what I would consider like what women's story subtext there, nothing was directly pointed out almost at all. Like it was never the main focus of why something wasn't happening or anything like that. It was never, oh, I'm a woman. They never brought up anything about her sexuality or like just that wasn't the reason anyone was listening. It was just something that you could understand as a viewer, assuming that you were intelligent enough to understand that there were other stories underneath the actual story. So like, I liked that because that's an easy story, especially nowadays, to pander to just drop that down. But if you want to pick that story up, it's there for you. If you want to move on with the top, the surface story, that's there for you too.
Yeah, no, I think it was just like looking back, I think it's something that I was aware of, but not innately thinking of, but also reflecting on the fact that there is that entire scene where Leo freaks out on TV and he doesn't get the same reaction. Like he doesn't become the meme that she does. Like people don't have his face on the skateboards. And like, wow.
He's the sexy scientist. And I thought that was interesting because I was like, I feel like this story might have been the flip-flop thing like 15 years ago. They'd have been like, oh, she's the sexy scientist. I really appreciated that was not the way they took this. They were like, oh no, he's the sexy scientist. She's the crazy person.
I do think if they like really drove home the fact that she was a woman in science, it would have been like, I would have hated it. Like you're saying, Jeanette, because they sprinkled it throughout and like it was just there to assume. And if you were intelligent enough to pick it up, great. But if like, who was the writer of this? Adam
McKay.
Yeah. Like if he were to like go and like try to write something funny about it, like that's nailing it on the head, I would have been like, okay, this is really contrived. But the way that it was insidiously like input, but in a funny way as well, it was like, that's good writing. You're showing us and not telling us. So
and from Aubrey. Okay, and that's why Aubrey feels the satire didn't land because they didn't quite go extreme enough in terms of the grad student experience. So it felt too yeah, that makes sense. No one takes us seriously if we don't have a PhD. And I feel like that's also an entire, like that's another strand that the movie satirizes really nicely is like what level you have to be at for people to listen to you. I think it even ties into the fact that like the head of NASA is what? She's not qualified, but she has some other job.
She's like an anesthesiologist.
Oh yeah,
anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
And that whole discussion of like what does it take for people to actually listen to somebody else, which I find fascinating, and again, so very awkwardly true to real life. So something that I think is really interesting also about this movie is that it was originally apparently written just as a comment on climate change pre-pandemic, but then it came out in a post-pandemic world. So how do we feel this movie would have been received if it did release in like 2019 or 2020, prior to what we've all lived through over the past 2 years? Do we think the movie itself would have been made any differently? Do we think the reception would have been any different?
Can I make a bold statement that's pretty specific?
Do it.
So just all things considered, in America anyway, had this movie come out during a Trump presidency, and specifically, I don't remember exactly when they took his Twitter away. Had it come out and he still had his Twitter, this movie could have created some sort of weird cultural, like, social phenomenon that I can't even predict, like, exactly what the outcome of that would have been, but it would have boiled and bubbled and been probably, like, just infamous for whatever surrounded it. I think coming out when people don't have to go to the movies as much to see, which it was already trending that way anyway, but obviously we all know the pandemic pushed everything in that direction. I think people kind of, because when you go to people go to the movies, sometimes they don't know what they want to go see, or they're just like, oh, what's the big thing that's Leo's in? We're going to go see that. But when they have the choice at home, maybe not as many people saw it. And the people that did, I feel like there was a lot of hate watch. Like people who watched it already knowing they weren't going to like it. I don't think there was a lot of people that watched this movie going, "Ooh, yay, I'm so excited to watch this movie. Oh, that was a crappy movie." I think most people who thought it was a crappy movie went into this being like, "Oh, another Leo movie," like something like that, you know, like I think the reception, had it been in theaters, might have been slightly more positive. Maybe more people who, like Lauren, who didn't have expectations, who didn't know what to expect, would have watched it. But when you're at home, maybe it goes that way more. I don't know. But I feel like people just have so many options. They were more likely to pass over it. And there wasn't as much just like social commentary surrounding it if you didn't go looking for it.
Yeah. I mean, I was asking people like, hey, do you want to watch this with me? And everyone said no, except my mom, who was like open to watching it. So yeah, I do agree with you, Jeanette, that there's a lot of people who were like, nah, or like haven't seen it yet because of whatever reason of all the options they have on Netflix and other streaming services. And I think that's so interesting what you're saying about the Twitter thing with Donald Trump.
It was a thing I thought when I watched it. I was like, if he was still in office and he still had Twitter, this way he'd be having some things to say, I'm sure.
Like Meryl Streep would be public enemy number one.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I feel like,
if she wasn't already.
would he have tried to ban it? Do we think that's a thing he would have done?
Probably.
I mean, do we know? Like, can you predict? I don't think there's anyone in the world that could predict anything that man would do. Other than the most outlandish. If you just say the most outlandish thing possible.
He's going to get eaten by a Bronteroc.
Yeah, I don't know if like I just
You're right.
like,
it is a Netflix movie, so it wouldn't have come out in theaters, would it?
It had a theatrical run, which it probably would have anyway, because it needs to qualify for the Oscars. It might just not have been a super wide one. It might have been like a really short one.
I didn't consider
like,
that though. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was in theaters for about 2 or 3 weeks before it went on to Netflix. I think for that exact reason. But yeah, if things were slightly more open across the board, it's possible it would have had a bigger theatrical release. But who's to say?
Who's to say?
Yeah. And now, question from Bob Hunt: do we think this movie has changed anyone's position re climate change?
Unfortunately, no.
No, I don't think so. I think this movie will fall down political lines, just like I was saying, with Meryl Streep being a Trump kind of character, and her I immediately was like, I don't like her, you know, and I don't believe anything she's saying, bloody bloody. But I thought if it were my political party, how would I feel about that? So it's like, I think that because it was a Trump kind of thing, I'm still like, you know, I mean, I've always supported the idea of climate change, although I have to admit that I am one of those people who is that kind of, I'll see it when I believe it. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it kind of people sometimes, not all the time. Like broadly, I believe in climate change, but am I the best at recycling? Am I the best at doing certain things? No, just because in the back of my head, I just keep thinking, you know, I don't
it's
know
life.
what happened. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty much the same way, where this movie didn't change what I feel because I've always believed and known that climate change is a thing, while at the same time not being acutely aware of it insofar as it affecting my day-to-day actions. Like, I think pandemic life was a little bit more of a test in my like being for me making the decision, like, am I actively going to do things to help the world situation? Like now, like, am I going to put on the mask when I leave the house? Yes, I am. Like, that's a thing that I can do, so I'm going to do it because I believe in what the science people are telling me. So ergo, I'm gonna do it. And I think this movie has combined with pandemic situation, it hasn't really changed my approach to anything, but maybe just made me more aware of the need to apply that level of thinking to bigger threats that are not bigger, but equally big threats that aren't as immediate. Because COVID, like I was saying, it's kind of similar to how in this movie there's a ticking time bomb, and like the comet is going to hit and it is going to destroy the Earth. It's kind of not exactly similarity, but like in the same vein, COVID had a more immediate like timeline to it, and like more,
yeah, like if you put the mask
everything
on, you won't get sick, or if you get the thing, you won't get sick. Whereas the other things
climate
are like,
change is just like an invisible threat.
Maybe your grandchildren will have a better world. Like,
yeah.
I feel like satire isn't always the best way to change people's minds, because especially in like today's current society, because people are very sensitive about like the things that they believe in and what they support, right?
True.
So I feel like, you know, other approaches like The Inconvenient Truth, or like that Penguin movie. You know, the one I'm talking about, or like,
oh my god, that would make me cry too. You know, like March of the Penguins.
Yes, March of the Penguins. Like, those are the types of movies I see people radically change their views about things. But I do think that, like, you know, for a left-leaning person like myself, I have like thought about like, how do I approach people with differing views to help better the world? So like, I do think it is like clearly for like a very specifically political audience, which is like left-leaning, and that's cool. But I think the whole message is like, well, when you don't work together, it's ultimately going to fall apart. And so how can we come together in a better and collaborative way? So yeah, like, I don't think it's going to change any like radical right winger into, you know, considering and working with people who fall to the left, or, you know, changing their opinions and beliefs about their political stances, which is fine. But I don't think that this movie did what maybe the creators were looking to do.
No, I think related to that, Aubrey has an amazing point here. That could have been more effective if the character hadn't been a caricature, and or if they'd been a Democrat, which I think would have been a very interesting move, because I do think they took the easier choice, where it kind of moved less from like more away from satire and almost towards parody. They didn't go full parody, but yeah, I think it could have been a much more thought-provoking move if it hadn't just been a full-out like, this is the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Just amped up a very small amount to be satirical. But it was almost, I guess, too true to real life.
I feel like the satire in this isn't going to change anyone, but it does the same thing. And again, not to keep drawing comparisons to South Park. I just think that that's effective satire.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's what it does is it helps people involved in the issue, whether they, they're falling on the side of the subject matter that they're presenting. I think it helps people to better understand the other side and the issue at large. It also just kind of does what comedy is supposed to do in the first place and gives you comfort about about an issue. Like it gives you an outlet of emotional, in this case, anxiety about all of the issues in the world. So I think that's really kind of what for me, what I look for in that is like, express this problem to me so I know I'm not crazy. Like, this is how I feel it's going. Thanks for giving me validation that I also feel like these people.
Yeah, I just feel like the movie just gives validation to the people who believe in the message.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we all feel. But I really like, I would have really liked to have seen what Aubrey suggested, that it had been a Democrat.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would have been the more interesting choice, because I think it's easy to. I don't want to offend Republicans because I don't hate Republicans. I think it's easy to demonize the Republicans, especially after the past administration. That it would be more interesting and thought-provoking to have the person in charge not dealing with it be someone in the Democratic Party, just to, like Lisa was saying, work towards that idea of we have to work together because it's a matter of survival as opposed to a matter of political standings.
Yeah, and like I think making fun of like Obama or even Biden would have been great because they're both like none of these Democratic leaders in the past and currently are perfect. Like that's not like I don't think anybody would say that, but they have comedic like things to make fun of just as much as Trump. I mean, Trump was outlandish, but I think to like hone in on like the outrageousness that Biden is and could be would like have been a very interesting take as well. But like, because it had an original like release date prior to the pandemic, obviously Adam was like working from that stance, and nobody wants to make fun of Obama. So
it's true. It's true. Oh, Obama. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, let's go back into the comments here. Aubrey says, in terms of science communication, this movie was not it. Sci-com professor would have shown this in class. Our
friend is back.
Here. Been so good about blocking our bot friend. No, I don't want online strips without clothing. Put user in timeout. There we go. So, Aubrey, Sci-com professor would have shown this in class for a discussion of how not to communicate with the general public.
Yeah, it's
they nailed the scientists don't know how to communicate. And I think that is also another thing that this movie provokes discussion for incredibly well is like communication. And when it's just saying don't talk math, it's like, but it's all math.
It is. Yeah.
And just that struggle with the media training, I thought was so interesting because this movie just does such a good job, aside from like satirizing the climate change discussion, of just satirizing celebrity culture. And
celebrity news culture, the fact that news is supposed to be news, not a talk show at a table with all sexual subtext. Like it's read the damn news. It's
what we got here? Leslie Nielsen as Biden would be perfect.
Yeah, and then Bobby Hunt said what I thought as soon as I read he's dead. He's dead.
That's okay. You can see Biden.
Yeah, that's true. I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife. That was uncomfortable.
I will say, like going back to Aubrey's thing about how like not to communicate to the general public, like we are all such monkey minds, and I feel like this was like such a an amazing way of like talking about how terrible governments were about like dealing with the pandemic. Like there was no contingency plans, there was no risk assessment prior to the pandemic, and like we just got flooded with information, and like it wasn't marketed in a very like clear way. And because a lot of people are not like science literate, like the literacy for science is not so well taught in public education, like it was mayhem. And this clearly showed how mayhem it can be when you are just talking to the public without, you know, a marketing plan or like just any kind of communications plan. You know, people need that, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, like when they loot the bar and just start rioting, when they're like, "What's happening?" It's like, "Okay, we'll tell you," and then jump cut,
done,
chaos. Just kind of like
that was the part that I thought communicated that there were two sides to an issue the best, and that the extremes of either, excuse me, are not the best. Going on TV and yelling that the world is going to die, like everybody's going to die, there's a comet coming, but then lying to people and extorting things for profit, or exploiting things for profit. Those two extremes, neither is going to work. We need, like Lisa just said, we need the trained person to say it the right way and have plans, and like, you know, but this was, like you said, an immediate threat. So it was like, well, how do we have a plan? How do we, you know? But that was, I thought that to me showed both sides best without showing that one was better than the other, or that one knew better than the other. They're both screwing it up.
Yeah, people will just destroy the world. We knew that, though. We already knew that.
Ledger told us that men just want to watch the world burn.
It's true. All right, so like within the Oscar context, this movie's nominated for 4 awards. Do we think it deserves any of them? The first I'll go with is Best Score. And I couldn't tell you what else was nominated for Best Score, but just watching it, is that what you would think? Yeah, this is a bop.
No.
I will bring up Best Score.
I can't even remember the score.
Who did the score?
So the score for this one is Nicholas Bertel. I couldn't tell you what else he did, but I'll tell you right now who I think is going to win. And could be Encanto, but I'm not. I'm kind of on the fence about that because it's not the score that everybody loves; it's the music. But Dune is nominated, and that is Hans Zimmer, and I would definitely say that Dune is, in my opinion, the strong. I haven't seen Power of the Dog, and I don't have a clue what Parallel Mothers is, but
actually, Power of the Dog, even though musically I don't like it, I think the score in Power of the Dog serves that movie pretty decently. So, like, I remember the score watching that movie, whereas I, even now, having watched Don't Look Up less than 2 hours ago, I can't remember the score. So it does not get my vote.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know that I remember like feeling, whatever is happening in the background, the soundtrack is complementing what's happening on screen, which I guess like that's the baseline for sound design. Yeah. But like it wasn't impactful. So no. So we're not going to get the Oscar.
The score has to be impactful for me to. I have to.
I do remember Dunes.
Remember it. What? What did you say, Jeanette?
Oh, I said I do remember Dune's score. So like I feel like that's the only one on that list that I.
I haven't seen Dune yet. That's for 2 weeks from now. Well, I think I'm watching it next week, but that'll be interesting. All right, next, Best Original Screenplay. Do we think it deserves Best Original Screenplay?
Who else is nominated?
It is. Yeah. I actually probably should have that list pulled up.
I had it right here. Here it is. I got it. Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World, which I hadn't even heard of until I just read that.
I feel like King Richard might get that. I don't know. I mean, like,
I feel like it might be Belfast, even though I haven't seen it. That's just the vibe that I get.
Isn't that? Yeah, that's Ewan McGregor's movie, right?
That's Kenneth Branagh. Ewan McGregor might be in it, but yeah.
I always get them mixed up.
I'm excited to see Licorice Pizza, and if I had to guess, just because of Paul Thomas Anderson's other movies, I would say that one. I don't think this will get screenplay just because we did mention the repetitiveness, and if they don't care for that in the whoever's voting, then maybe not.
The Academy.
The Academy, but who knows what they want? That's an ongoing topic of discussion. I feel like all the things that are in favor of this movie, like all the satirical elements, do probably reflect strongest in the screenplay. So I would not be surprised if that was like the only award that it won, if it's going to win anything. Which I guess brings to the next, best editing. How do we feel about editing?
For the last scene, that like dinner scene, like how they edited it, the whole thing was like Oscar worthy for sure. Like it was so like, I mean, the way that they captured it and the way that, you know, the actors were handling the end of the world at the dinner table, it was beautiful. But just like cutting in and out and the freezes, and it was just, for that alone, I could see it winning that for sure.
Yeah, I thought that there were some interesting choices in terms of editing. I like the scene when Leonardo DiCaprio is in the bathroom having a anxiety attack, and I thought that was really well edited.
It communicated that feeling.
Yeah, and then I thought it was interesting the little like clips of things going on.
Of the polar bear,
like the
like a polar bear or whatever, you know. I thought that was actually kind of interesting. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll win, but I think that it deserves to be it.
Yeah, I think it deserves to be nominated. The other things on the list look really strong. Honestly, if we want to talk about a movie that was too long, Dune could have been. I mean, we know there's going to be another one because we not have just taken a little bit of this one and a little bit of that next one and made more. that needed to be edited down. It was good. It was a good movie, but it was so long. And that one really was long. I think I looked it up. I think it was 3 and some change, maybe. Don't quote me, but it's the original one was a mini series, was it not? Like, don't put that all in a movie.
The original one was actually a long movie.
It was okay. I see. I think because my dad, you know what it is? My dad had the VHS set that was 2 tapes, so to me it felt like 2 movies.
Yeah. And then they did a miniseries.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I think that this deserves to be nominated because of what Lauren said about the things that they insert. Like, I like that they're there. Sometimes those things feel silly.
Yeah.
I think the editing just contributes to that feeling of anxiety and dread that's an undercurrent in the entire film, which is probably one of the strongest things about it. I tuned into the editing on my rewatch, my second time watching it, and it stood out to me during the TV scene where Jennifer Lawrence starts screaming, basically, and saying maybe it's not supposed to be fun, maybe it's supposed to be terrifying. I just felt like the editing reflected that concept, which is basically the message of the movie in a nutshell, so beautifully, jumping between the actual TV footage and then the more handheld, like actual diegetic, this is in the moment footage, and just the contrast between that and like even how everything was so highly saturated and like the lighting was so high key for the television stuff versus how gritty it looked otherwise, and cutting between that and the pacing of it and just the visual dynamic, I thought it was genius. So for that, I would personally give it the editing award. But also,
did you notice that when they were on the TV set, whenever they would shoot them, like the TV show, they would cut between a head-on, a side, and a side. But then whenever like they were just doing like everyday life and they weren't on the TV set, they didn't really do that. They didn't shoot them from the side as much. So it felt like TV cameras.
I don't know if I noticed that. I might have noticed that. But yeah, it's editing. It's editing. So like out of the 4 things it's nominated for, editing is the only one that I would be okay with it winning, personally. Actually, and original screenplay, maybe, but yeah, I would pick editing. And then best picture. But do we think it's best picture worthy?
No, I mean, I don't think it's best picture worthy, but what are our other options here?
I will say, like, I love that. Like,
I mean, it's my favorite movie on this list so far. So
no, yeah, same with me. I know though. I've seen the story, so I know that's my top. But so far, out of the ones I haven't seen, this is my favorite.
I will say, like, I love that, like, a Netflix original is nominated. I mean, like, I do love going to the movies, and I love that experience, but having something like on a streaming service that was quality and great, like so many other things that Netflix and other streaming services do. I think the nomination is a win for itself, but I don't know. I feel like the Academy is gonna like turn their nose.
I'll tell you this: if Nightmare Alley wins, I'm not watching another Oscars ever again.
Was it that bad?
It was, girl. I'm a big Guillermo fan. We're not doing an episode about Nightmare Alley, so I'm going to take 2 seconds. I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, and it was the biggest disappointment. So not good. Oh my God, it was.
I have like such
so
high expectations.
slow.
I haven't seen it yet, so
maybe you'll appreciate it on a level that I could not. I just.
Well, I haven't watched the original. I wasn't sure how it could be turned into anything that much more exciting because the story is. Yeah, it's just.
There's one exciting scene in the whole movie.
Does Bradley Cooper bite the head off of a chicken?
Oh my God.
I was, but no, he doesn't. Maybe somebody does.
Oh, somebody definitely does. I just assumed that it would have been him as well. No. Interesting.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, I feel better about not putting that on the list. Which, truthfully, the only reason it didn't go on the list was because I love Guillermo, but also I don't love graphic violence. So I was like, I don't want to force myself to watch
Unfortunately,
this movie.
There wasn't enough graphic violence in this movie. So
really?
Yes.
Interesting. And I also know there are no monsters aside from the humans, which is whatever.
Yeah,
but movies.
I'm just saying, like on this list, like Dune was good. I don't think it deserves Best Picture, and I know your vote's probably West Side Story.
Oh, of course.
Just guessing.
I don't think it's going to win, but that's my vote. I think Power of the Dog is going to win. I don't think it should, but I think it will.
That sounds like a movie that would win the Oscar.
Or Bell.
My sister is making me dread watching this movie, and I don't. I again don't know anything about it. But yeah,
it's okay. It's one of those movies that like you go into it knowing it's going to be slow, and it is slow, but it's also slow in a way that's interesting enough to watch. I feel I don't want to compare it to The Godfather because it's not nearly as good as The Godfather. But that's the same experience I had with The Godfather, where I was watching it and I was like, "This is so boring," but I'm interested. It's kind of what Power of the Dog is, but not as good as The Godfather. So yeah, like I think. I like it in theory being nominated at least because it is technically a comedy, and I'm always happy to see the Academy moving away from Oscar bait movies to having a little bit more diversity on there. Like it's not as big a win as, for example, when Black Panther was nominated because a Marvel movie nominated, like amazing. Would have been nice to see Spider-Man nominated, but it wasn't. And
it deserved a nomination at least.
Oh, it absolutely deserved a nomination. Like it was a legitimately great movie aside from being a giant money-making franchise machine. But yeah. Oh, I've missed all my friends here joining us. Dune should have been nominated with an intermission.
Sure.
Yes. That would have been great.
Fine, give me an intermission.
Just give me some time for a break.
West Side should have been nominated for editing. Should have been nominated for everything.
I was gonna say Matt thinks it should have been nominated for everything.
All the things. Well, not Best Actor because Morgan's here.
Morgan B.
Okay, yeah. I rewatched Tick, Tick, Boom this weekend in honor of my birthday, and I liked it a lot more the second time. And yeah, I don't think it should have won Best Picture, but I think it deserved a nomination. Or at least it deserved more than the one nomination it got, which was for Andrew Garfield.
I'm going to have to suck it up and watch it. I don't like Andrew Garfield.
I don't like Andrew Garfield either. But I can't deny that he's talented. Oh, like I think he's good in every movie, but I just don't like him. It's hard to describe.
He's got a very punchable face.
When Lisa said that, when Lisa said Nicole Kidman can't hold an American accent, that's how I feel about Andrew Garfield. Like it always takes me, it always takes me out of it because I can always hear him being British just a little bit in everything he's saying, and I like him from an emotional perspective. Like, I think he taps into emotions in very raw, natural ways that I love watching, but I hate his American accent so much because it just kind of, he's not great with latching on to regional dialects. So what you get is a very neutral theater school type American accent. And on top of that, he's not very good at that. So everything is just kind of very soft and meh. So yeah.
It works like for Sunday for me. That the number Sunday and Tick Tick Boom.
Oh yeah.
That's the Oscar world. That's what makes it Oscar worthy for me.
Oh, we should have done a Tick Tick Boom show. I have a lot to say about that movie. Maybe after, when we do the Macbeth show. All the movies that weren't nominated. So many. All right, let's talk about the game. Here we go.
Oh, we have some wait. Can I ask one question? We can all just do a yes or no. Did everybody like the ending? Like,
oh yeah,
the ending. Yeah, I did.
I feel like choosing to kill everybody is a pretty big choice. Like that's
for sure.
Actually making it come true. Like
that was the most aside from all the jokes of the the administration and how things would play out. Like that was the most real feeling.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I bawled, and I was sobbing. And
the dinner scene. Oh.
That dinner scene was perfect.
See, I'm gonna cry again. It's like I want to watch it again, but absolutely, it's like Bambi. It's like I really want to watch it, and then I'm like, I can't. I'm gonna cry.
No, it summoned all these feelings of like the normalcy of the night before you know something really bad is going to happen. Like if you know you're having your pet put to sleep the next day, and then you just have like the last night with the pet, and they're just sitting there on your lap.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Like that's what that scene was for me, and it hurt to watch it, but it was like that amplified to not just your pet but everything that exists.
Yeah,
it's like this is intense.
Existential dread at its finest.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to get that out. I had to ask if that was because I thought more people would be like, put a back by it.
No, and I think I would have been angry if it didn't end that way for what this movie was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it doesn't put the importance on it if it doesn't.
Of course, if it was just like rewarding the people who did nothing.
You mean like Deep Impact, where the thing hits and then everybody that we watched in the movie lives anyway? So, what were the real consequences? You're just surrounded by water now. Okay.
Exactly. So this movie definitely succeeded in making people feel things. So I guess it is successful as a film. Is it a good film? Still up for debate. So for the game today, this is inspired by Meryl Streep's not Oscar-worthy performance as President Orlean or Orlean or whatever. So it's called Fact or Fiction. Or I could have called it Fake News. I should have. Oh, well, no, it's too late. Fact or Fiction. So I am going to name an actor who has played a president in either a movie or a TV show. And you have to tell me if the president they played was a real person or a fictional president.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And I'm 99% sure that there is no person who is both. Like it's very likely that I'm wrong because a lot of actors have played a lot of presidents. But as far as I know,
can you say that again? My thing timed out. So
sure thing.
Sorry.
So for the game today, it's either you have to write down either fact or fiction. I am going to name an actor who has played a president in either a movie or a TV show. You have to tell me if the actor or the president they played is a real historical figure, in which case you show fact, or a fictional president, in which case you show fiction. Disclaimer, unlike the game last week, no answers, aside from maybe the bonus question, will be both. Disclaimer to that disclaimer, it's possible that some of these actors might have played both a real and fictional president, but I don't think that's the case. But a lot of actors have played a lot of presidents, so there we go. But if you can prove me wrong, then you get the point. Okay. Let me just get my scoreboard ready.
Oh my god, can we just talk about Aubrey's comments?
I'm hilarious. Oh, what is happening?
Oh, she made.
Oh my god!
Yikes! I'm so sorry that.
Too real.
A moment of silence for Aubrey.
I feel like that needs to be in a TV show. Like that needs to I feel like that could be like Aquafina's show. I feel like that'd be something she'd say. She'd be like, well, hope we can all be together.
Just coming from a scientist too. The extra credibility.
Yeah. I could see that like on Seinfeld, how like George's family would like say something like that, and George is like, L to the no.
Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Fact or fiction? Harrison Ford. Did he play a president that was fact or fiction? You're all correct. It was fiction.
Yeah.
You don't get an extra point. Does anyone know what the movie was?
No, what was it?
It was the American president.
Yeah, Air Force One.
Air Force One. Yeah.
Air Force One. Yeah. Airplane One.
Airplane One.
Airplane One. I love this. Ooh, comment section's doing really well. Okay, next. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh.
So
I
much
know
confidence.
Yes, I remember this. I have a comment on this.
Of course, you're all right. We all know who it was.
Abe Lincoln.
That's the one.
I don't think he should have done it, but whatever.
Ooh.
Yeah,
why?
controversial. Controversial.
Why? Can you, like, is it a hot take that you can explain in like a couple seconds?
First of all, I don't like the fact that he's such a method actor, but also he's British. They should have just like gone with an American actor.
And then the next year, Meryl Streep played Margaret Thatcher.
I know, so I guess it was like a comeuppance or whatever.
It was like a trade-off.
Yeah, it's straight off.
My hot take, though, is that I prefer Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
What an icon.
Yeah, so good. Okay, Bill Pullman. I believe he was also the dad in Casper, if we need help placing a face.
This is, I think this is the one that I'm actually thinking of.
No idea, but I'm gonna
Is this one the American president?
It was fiction. Is that the movie? Like the name of the movie?
I think so.
No, it's Independence Day.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, Independence.
Yeah.
Duh.
I was thinking American president too. That's the one with Annette Bening.
Oh yeah.
No, that's Dave, I thought.
Oh,
we're gonna
Dave
get
with
to
Kevin
that.
Kline? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Kline's not on the list because
Kevin
he
Kline's
played.
on your list.
No, because he played a real president and a fake president, so he was disqualified.
Oh.
Oh.
Wait, was this guy? So wait, hold on. What president, fake president, did he play?
Who?
He was in
Kevin
Independence
Kline?
Day.
Yeah. No,
Bill Pullman.
Oh, Independence Day.
Independence Day. Okay.
Yeah. Next, Peter Sellers. Got 2 facts.
He's British, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these British guys.
Was he a Scrooge? No.
Let's see. Well, Scrooge of that. Lauren, you get a point. Fictional.
Oh.
Do you know the movie?
Was it? No, it was not Being There. What was it? I forget.
Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. Right.
Yeah, but he played a bunch of people, so I think the president takes a back seat to like the actual Dr. Strangelove.
That is tricky.
Yes. Oh, they get trickier. Okay, next, Robin Williams.
Oh, I know this one.
Oh, yeah.
Man, keep my mouth shut until Lauren answers.
Okay, according to my notes, Lauren gets the point, but Jeanette, you can. Okay, well, who's what fictional president did Robbie?
Isn't it Man of the Year?
Roosevelt in the museum. What do you call those? The night.
I have him as Roosevelt from Night at the Museum,
I was
as
thinking
well
of
as
the movie Man of the Year.
Is he the president in Man of the Year? I don't know Man
so.
of the Year. Let me look this up. Man of the Year.
Yeah, you're right. Teddy Roosevelt. Technically, he didn't play Teddy Roosevelt. He played a wax figure of Teddy Roosevelt.
That's still Teddy Roosevelt.
So, just say it.
He did also play Eisenhower in something else.
Really?
Yeah. Nothing important, but yeah. Okay. So according to Google, Man of the Year, he's the satirical host of a talk show. So technically, I don't think he was
running
actually.
For president. He was like Jon Stewart.
Was he?
And he was running for president. Yep,
did he win in the movie?
Well, the ballot machines go crazy, so I don't remember if he actually wins or if it's like stolen from him. I think
Oh,
he
it was
wins
filmed in
and-
Toronto and in
Yeah.
Hamilton. Okay, hold on. Spoiler alert. Let's find out. Does he win? Does he win? No, he loses.
For my point, no.
He loses.
Okay,
Well,
there we go.
I'm glad you were able to back that up, though. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Jack Nicholson.
He played a president?
Oh, he did.
I'm like, read my calligraphy.
You're all right. He's a fictional president in Mars Attacks.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey.
With Glenn Close as the First Lady.
I'm
Yes.
trying to get my daughter to watch that movie recently, and she
I still haven't seen that movie in its entirety.
Oh my God,
It's fun. It's a fun movie.
It looks fun. I like most Tim Burton movies.
Cool.
Okay.
I don't like
Next.
Tim Burton though.
Oh, I love Timmy. Alec Baldwin.
Oh, oh, come on.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna
He
go
plays,
with that.
he plays a president.
I feel like it, and I have a reason why. I feel this way.
You said TV or movie. You said
Yep, I
TV,
said TV or movie.
I take my answer back.
Okay.
No. I'm thinking of just movies. Hold on.
You're all right.
Yeah.
Fact.
on
TV.
SNL.
SNL.
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah.
The original
Yeah.
Trump.
Yes, he was
I'm
trying.
thinking of movies. Yeah.
I was like, he was something on TV.
Yes.
And some of these other answers might be TV, so remember that TV counts.
Yeah. Okay.
Unrelated to that, Robin Wright.
Oh, come on.
I mean, that's a.
Are you
I was gonna
saying
say that's a
the
woman, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, House of Cards.
I mean, that kind of gives it away a little bit.
I am so
Yeah,
disappointed.
you all get the point.
In Vincent's in the comments saying that that's a fact. Robin Wright was not actual president.
Can you imagine, though, how much better the world would be?
With Robin Wright as the president.
Yes. The
Or
warrior queen from Wonder Woman could
a
be in
lady.
charge of us all, if only.
Mhm.
All right. Oh, alongside Buttercup. She's done a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Robin Wright. Okay. Bill Murray.
Mm. Feel like I might know, but I might be totally no.
Oh God. Yeah.
I think I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong,
I'm just gonna go with.
but I
this.
don't know why.
I don't know why I'm saying this.
It's like I have an idea in my head, but
Lisa, you get the point.
Yes,
yeah.
I love
Who did he play?
Apparently, he played Roosevelt in something I have never heard of called Hyde Park on Hudson.
Huh.
Never heard of it, but he seems like a guy with a face that is very like
Presidential.
could not.
Wasn't he living in the White House in Zombieland?
In
when they
Zombieland, he was
find
living
him?
in the White House. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, was he president in Zombieland?
Oh wait, was it the White House or was it just his house and it was a mansion?
Maybe it was
I
just
can't
his
remember.
house. I don't know why I thought it was.
No, it was his house because he had paintings of himself on all
Yep.
the walls. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a hilarious movie. I love Zombieland. Okay.
Mhm.
Final regular question before we move on to the bonus round. Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh,
Oh my
I
God.
wish Gilbert was president. I love Gilbert Gottfried so much. I saw him live.
I'm gonna give him this.
I have no idea.
I'm going with.
I don't know what he played it in, but I'm excited to find out.
Yes, he played President Lincoln.
Nice.
In what?
A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness.
That was a guess, but yay.
Yes. Okay. So just like last week, I'm going to give you your scores. You can decide how much you want to wager for the bonus question.
Okay.
Well, no, wait, Al, that's Lisa. Lisa, you have 8. What would you like to wager?
All of it.
All of it. Nice.
Wait,
Lauren, you have-
wait. No, I don't want to
Oh,
wager
no?
all of it. I
No?
just want to wager
Okay.
Hold on. How am I the highest?
I'll give all the scores, then you can all decide.
Okay. Because I want to go like Jeopardy strategy here.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Smart move. Lauren, you have 9. And Jeanette, you have 6.
Oh, I was gonna say 2.
I'm gonna go all the way.
Lauren's going all okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 3.
3. Okay. Ooh.
I'm all in.
Okay, all in. Here we go. All right. For this one, you will have to write something other than fact and fiction. You'll have to write a name.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Now, Martin Sheen famously played the president in Aaron Sorkin's The West Wing, to harken back to last week, but he has also played a real president. Which real president did Martin Sheen play? You have like 50 some odd choices. I don't know enough about history to know how many you've had. 53, 4, 6. Are we on 6 now?
Presidents.
It's one of those.
I think it's more. Is it not more? I don't know.
I think they're on 55 now. I think Biden's 55.
No, Trump was 45.
Oh, he was 45. Oh, I'm so wrong.
I have no idea.
I'm so embarrassed. Oh, 46. Well, I'm a
Hold
Canadian.
on. I guess I got to make a decision here.
Okay.
So yes, which real president? You have 46 options.
Why do I feel like was he a president?
Hold on.
Why do I think this? I'm gonna
Wait,
kick myself because I think I was right before.
Leak the name of the person we're thinking of out of my head. Who is it?
Martin Sheen.
Martin
so the guy
Sheen.
from the West Wing president plus Charlie Sheen's dad, I'm assuming. Okay. There he is, this guy.
Yeah. That guy.
Yeah.
That's the one. All right. Oh, we've got some guesses coming in the comments. I can't say if anyone got it right or not.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Okay, everyone get ready to reveal your president.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, vote. Clinton, JFK, Truman.
Lisa's right.
None of you are right. It was George Washington.
What?
Oh,
George-
I was
that's
gonna put
wrong.
Kennedy.
That's so wrong.
What did he play him in?
I don't know. Let me look. Let's see.
Like he looks like JFK.
He does. I know.
I thought he did play him in, and I was like, no, maybe he played somebody else in that. And I don't know why Truman's name popped into my head. I had no idea. That's why I was like, was he a president or was he just an FBI guy?
I felt it was a more recent president. Couldn't it have been?
Oh, FYI, I kept asking about the American president. It's freaking what's his face, Michael Douglas in that, but Martin Sheen is his vice president in that, and that I thought that was the one.
Martin Sheen.
What does he play George Washington in?
Trying to find it. Maybe I was wrong.
Well,
oh wait, maybe he did play Kennedy as well.
Yeah, but it was
Thought
in
he
a
did.
miniseries. What was it? What was that miniseries called?
Kennedy.
It was just
Yeah.
called
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
yeah.
So actually, yeah. Oh, so wait, who said Kennedy?
Me.
That
Lisa?
Lisa.
Oh, okay, yeah, Lisa, you get
I
you get the points.
erased that.
I get 3 points.
Yeah, you get 3 points. And he played George Washington in Searching for George Washington.
Wow.
So there we go. But either way, Lisa won because with your even if you lost your points, you would still be at 5, but you're not. You're at 11. Woo!
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right. Oh, where has the time gone? My. All right. Well, this was a delight. Does anyone have closing thoughts or anything that you want to say about the American administration or Don't Look Up, climate change, celebrity culture? It's a very loaded movie.
Just that if anybody watching hasn't seen it and they're on the fence, just watch it because at very least it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's touching.
Enjoyable. I thought it was enjoyable.
Maybe don't watch it with people you don't want to spend your like last hours on Earth with.
Yeah, put a real wedge between you.
Yeah. But overall, I like it's. I didn't hate it. Happy it's nominated for things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shocked
I agree.
it's not nominated for acting, just because they couldn't focus on anybody because everybody's so good.
So many. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm interested to see if I have time, the other acting nominations, just to see what was deemed worthy of this year. Especially when we talk about Power of the Dog next week, because that's the most nominated movie for acting. Like,
yeah.
Especially when Nicole Kidman was nominated.
Yeah. Well, I think that was so much of the acting nominations are political. So much. Like, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh, what have we got here? Teaching Disney, I haven't watched, but I love telling my kids about this because it has actually happened that scientists have believed. See, it's a movie that just provokes discussion, and I'm always in favor of things like that, even if I don't love them from a narrative perspective. So yeah, I agree with what everyone else said. I think it's a movie that's worth watching. Whether or not you'll like it, that's up for debate, but it's worth seeing because people have such varying opinions on it that you will feel something. Which is always better than a movie that makes me feel nothing, like Power of the Dog. But we'll get to that next week. So, now, friends,
read this movie.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts, Len. It's going to be so much fun. All right, so we're going to go around, everyone, for a final sign off. Oh, you love it. Tell us once again, remind us who you are, where we can find you, and if you have anything fun and exciting coming up. We'll start with Lauren.
All right. Well, I'm with on YouTube, Castle Escapes and Clones. Like I said, tomorrow we've got Year of the Year, and Friday we've got Make My Music and Melody Time. We're doing a deep dive into that. So check us out.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us again, Lauren. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, Jeanette.
So you can find me on Instagram, TinkerJ787. I can't point at it. It's there. So like I said earlier, I have a trip review that I just put up right when we got back from our trip to Disney in the middle of February. So that's up there. Also, last night I was on our good friends We Like Theme Parks, and it was the Encantisode. So that's up now if you want to go watch that. And I have an ongoing post that I do every Monday called Marvel Monday, and it's just highlighting Ladies of Marvel and just giving a little blurb so that maybe you can discover a Marvel character that you didn't know about or want to learn more about.
Love it. All right. Thank you for joining us again, Jeanette. Again, always a pleasure. Bye. Lisa, same question.
Yeah, everyone can find me on Instagram at Lisa_A_Alves. I post a lot about my hamsters, Eleanor and Theodora, who is turning 1 today. That's
happy birthday.
So feel free to go follow her. She's really cute. But yes, you can also follow the theater company I work at called Cahoots Theater. So you can follow them on all social media platforms. And I actually am on a podcast being released early March called Stage Worthy with Phil Rickaby. So it's all about like theater and producing and stuff. So if folks are interested in that, feel free to check that out. But yeah, that's it for me.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lisa. All right. And of course, if you're watching, hopefully you know who I am. If not, my name is Matt. I have 2 degrees. This is my channel, Teacup For One. Join us next week. We are going to be talking about Power of the Dog. And then we've got some other Best Picture nominations lined up for future shows. I also have a trivia night scheduled for tomorrow evening to celebrate this channel's 2-year anniversary, which is going to be a lot of fun. So it is Disney villain trivia themed. We're playing via Kahoot. If you don't know what that means, essentially, it means that you watching at home get to play on your phone. It is so much fun. So if you have the evening free, check that out. And yeah, join us next week. And thank you. Thank you for watching. That's it. It's over. How do I end this?